Welcome guys to another edition. Now we are going to do a pretty long stream, not live because I want to have a proper structure so it can be looped and I explain everything without distractions. I get easily distracted. Oh look, a squirrel. Yeah, just wanted to basically reintroduce the game, so explain what it is, what it has, what it will be, some new tips, what is in Alpha 8, what will come in Alpha 9, 10 release, post-release, etc. So it will have a bunch of different aspects. In the description, if you guys are watching it on YouTube, it will have some timestamps so you guys can jump to the section that you guys want. So, first of all, what is the game about? Now, it's contrary to popular belief, it is not inspired by Transport Tycoon or Railroad Tycoon or any other logistics-centric game. The purpose of the game is mainly understanding the world you live in, creating successful relationships with the town, making production lines, and connect everything so that everything is nice and efficient to then sell to the shops of the various towns in the world. So yeah, mainly it boils down to production lines, mainly. Main inspirations are Industry Giant, especially the second one, Anno, and some Factorio, because everybody loves Factorio. With that out of the way, now you can see the main menu for Alpha 8. We changed a little bit and added some stuff. So the sandbox, considering not a lot of people play it, we moved it to a secondary role. Scenarios took the front seat. I'll go and explain them a bit later. And the wiki, which I'll explain also later. So, first thing. Now, this game, even though many of you are veterans of tycoon games or simulation and whatnot, this game, we try to keep it as unique and fresh as possible. So there are some things that might seem familiar, but many other things will be alien to you guys. So it's very important that you guys do the tutorial. Now, it's divided into 3 different sections because maybe you've played Industry Giant all your life, you know exactly how to work a camera, tip WASD. So you can skip the first one and jump into the second and third. I always recommend doing all 3 in a row so you get acquainted with everything. The first one is mainly general tips like how to move the camera, how to place buildings, how to unlock stuff, very simple stuff. The second one is more about this actual game, so proper production lines, research and development, efficiency, and that kind of stuff. The third one, in the public one, which I still need to change this text, is about the logistics part, because I understand that in previous versions, up until 7.4, Traderus required its own tutorial because it was a bit complex. Let's delve into it a little bit later. Now it explains the new request system, also called the network, which again I'll explain later. So to begin, what I would recommend is just to start, set everything to default. Don't touch any of that, you get acquainted with all of that, but what is important is to understand what the game is about. So you can either move it to newcomer if you're completely new. I very much recommend doing this for your first run because it's admittedly not an easy game. You can go bankrupt quite easily, and that's the fun of it, because if it was easy, it wouldn't be fun, at least for me. So just leave everything like this. The only thing that I would mention is, as I put in the description, large maps use a lot of resources. Avoid it unless you have a nuclear-powered computer. So small is very good because you don't get any kind of distractions like there's too many resources, too many towns, what do I do, blah blah blah. Normal, medium is more for the way it's meant to be played, so to say. So for the first one, just do a small map, everything on default, newcomer, don't touch any of this because you'll go crazy. I'll explain this a little bit later. So you just started. Of course, it needs to create all the map, which is relatively quick because it's a small one. Now, you'll see that the map has several towns. Let's remove the UI just to avoid distractions. It is done by pressing F11. You see several towns. Some are small, some are big. You can see that with the style of the buildings, you can see the type of town. So this one is an industrial town because it has very industrial buildings. Like, they are not terribly pretty. So if we go to another town, this one has white, even uglier, and it's heavy industrial. But if we go to a smaller one, like this one has pretty cabins. So this one is a rural type. Depending on the type, each town will behave differently. Like, if you place a lot of heavy polluting industries near a farm town, they'll get annoyed. The type of shops they're going to place are going to be different. The resources spawned are different. So you can see that the industrial towns have all the oil and gas because when they were placed, they said, oh, we have all these resources, might as well take advantage of them. While the rural ones, which are all these, they have a lot of water, a lot of trees, but not proper resources. Except this one, what is this? Oh, it's a heavy industry, yeah. So this one, Cleve, has a lot of trees, but also has access to oil nearby. So that need to take into account that the gameplay in most games is basically you do what you want whenever you want. This one is a bit reactive, so you first need to study what the environment is about and understand what they want. You can't force feed every town into liking you and give them, for example, say you want to make a book empire and a beer empire. If you go to Cleve, for example, and we see their shops, okay, they have a farmer's market and hardware store. We think beer, okay, beer is food, farmer's market. Oh wait, they don't want any beer. So if you create and spend all your starting money in making a beer empire, you go bankrupt. Simple as that, because you don't have any customers. So either you go to a bigger town that has more shops, like this one, for example, has a grocery store that accepts higher quality stuff. Like we can see tier 2 and tier 3 stuff like canned mutton, chips, and cheese, and so on, which is more advanced than the farmer's market. If we go to the other one, what do we have? Oh, okay, coincidence, another grocery store. Yeah, basically you can't force feed what you want into them. Let's see if they sell the same stuff. They buy kinda a different ratio. So this one wants dough at 120%, but this one is paying 140. So if you're going to make dough to then make pizza, for example, you might want to focus on, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this name, Y'all Hayden. I am very sorry for all British out there if I butcher the name. Y'all Hayden. Yalden. In any case, the best thing would be to choose an empty spot like this one, set up all the farms there, all the livestock farms, and get as much cheese as possible, and then sell it. Sorry, not cheese. I'm already thinking of pizza. We need dough, which means flour and water. Flour is done with wheat, coincidentally. So you need a lot of wheat farms. You got a bunch of water, so you can just assemble everything here and sell it to Deerhurst. Doesn't sound very British. And to Y'all Hayden. And surprised because they sound not terribly British, but yeah, we'll see. In any case, you can of course modify this. We got a bunch of presets and we are modding. You can add all the ones that you want. If you want Lord of the Rings, you can definitely have it. So let's say that we study the towns and we want to have, let's say something easy is dough. It requires very little. Now, first step is to place the headquarters. The headquarters is basically the representation of your company. Where you place it, it doesn't matter that much, but it matters the region where you place it. As you can see, there's a bunch of lines, explains where every single town ends. You can see here the division in the river. So let's say I want to transport a lot of stuff. Let's take it this one because it has a bunch of empty space. I want to place it here. I'm going to place it, for example, here. And now the game starts. It's still paused, but you can do a bunch of stuff. So we said we are going to do dough. So we open up the tech tree and we go to, of course, food, and we say dough. Okay, it's in the third row and it needs water unlocked. All raw stuff is already unlocked from the beginning, but farms are not. So we need wheat, flour, and dough. So the game very generously gives us 3 unlocks, but it's only for the first and second row. So we can unlock wheat, flour, but dough we can't. So let's queue it up. We know it'll take almost a couple of years. So we need to make do with what we have for now. We still have 1 unlock. We know we are making flour. We know we are going to make wheat. So let's see if we can get rid of it here. Here we are completely screwed. So let's see if we can export it here. We can sell the wheat. Excellent. So not gonna bother with flour just yet because that involves a factory, which means upkeep and using wheat. So let's wait until the dough is completely done. And for now, just set up all the stuff. So we can, everything is locked, of course, because we don't know how to use it. So we need a crop farm. Okay, let's place, for example, 2 of them, pointing in the right direction. Let's do one here. Then, of course, very grid-like fields. We got 1. To duplicate, I pressed X. So I place another one here, for example, with a hill in the way. Need to break the OCD. And 3. So we got both. Of course, wheat is the only thing we can do. The other recipes are locked. So that's it. That is done. I know that wheat needs water, so might as well collect it. We got coastal, land, and offshore. Water is, of course, got from the coast. So we put a water siphon. Remember, road needs to be on land, so let's try to put it as close to the coast as possible without overlapping anywhere, leaving some space for other buildings. So here, for example, and it highlights all the places where we can put it. It's much easier to place it in the coast than in rivers. In rivers it's very jagged, you might have to terraform it. So let's place 1, 2, and 3. Now, let's talk about production times. The game is still paused. You can plan as much as you want. So we know that we place 3 harvesters and each takes 10 days to produce 1 unit. We can see this in the 10 days and all harvesters always produce 1 unit. Now, farms need 1 water per field. We have 3 fields every 45 days. Now, we can go into math. Okay, 45 days, 3 fields, that means a fourth of a field of a harvester. Or you can just go into lazy mode, unlock the place, the warehouse. The warehouse is a magical building that basically connects all the stuff that happens near it. So, for example, it detects, if I place it here, you can see the area of influence around it. Let's say I place it here, nice, in the middle. It's important that it touches all the buildings. So let's say this is a very nice and centric place. Of course, need to connect everything by road. The game already alerted me that it didn't have any connections. So, we got this connected. So we have, it already detected we have a water siphon and 2 farms. That means it's going to collect the water and it's going to automatically distribute the water to the crop farms and then do something with it For now, it will store it. Once we place the factory to make the dough, first the flour, then the dough, it will automatically send it to that factory, then collect the final product. And you can do as simple as in the destinations. Oop, I didn't connect this one. It's as simple as, okay, I know I want to sell the, oh, it's quite a trip to get there. I want to sell the flour to the towns. So let's select the wheat, and we see, okay, the state buys it. I strongly recommend you forget that the state exists. It buys a very low price and is very unreliable. Use it only, for example, if you are overproducing something and you don't want to throw it away, you want even pennies for it, send it there. But it's possible that what you get is even less than what it would cost you to deliver it there. So be very, very careful when using the state. So we have two markets almost at the same distance from here. So let's see, we got Yodin that is buying it at 11,000. Let's keep that in mind. Then we have Buckfast that buys it at slightly more. Okay, good. Thank you, game, for telling me of this opportunity. So for me, it would be far more interesting to sell it to Buckfast because it make a little bit more. Keep in mind that every time you dispatch something, you are going to pay. So every time you dispatch it, you're going to pay $435 per truck, per unit. So be careful. You're not just going to get the 12,000 just with that. It's going to consume the product every 15 days, so twice a month you're going to get paid. And it's as simple as that. So now, this is a bit long. I'm sorry, I just suck making tutorials and explaining the game. I'm better making them, I guess. I just ramble a lot. So, in short, we discovered all the towns. We know that we want to make dough because it's super lucrative. We chose a town we want to go to, but we can't make dough because we need to research it. To research it, we need time and money. If we just research it, we're not going to have income. So you're going to spend a lot of money. To be precise, it's going to cost at 1.8 million to research that, plus the upkeep of buildings. So you don't want to just idle for the 2 years it takes to discover this. Set up all the routes. We got all our buildings and created the warehouse so it connects everything, and created the connection to Buckfast. Now we can start the game. I like playing on high speed. I can also play at maximum speed. So now what is happening is the water siphon is making the water. It gave the order to the warehouse. Hey dude, we got water. Excellent. Here's the water. Cobb Farms heard that and they sent their stuff. Cobb Farms saw that they need more water. Now that the water siphon is getting fuller and the first Cobb Farm has enough, the second one will get it. And you maintain this beautiful dance with everything. Just keep in mind that this is inaccurate. So you're making every 10 days the water, but maybe you're making not enough to make it efficient for all the farms. So you might do it this way. Let's say you are stockpiling too much water, so you might want to put another farm. If you stockpile too much wheat, or this is always empty, you put another water siphon, and you make it as simple as that. And we got an event. Okay, good moment to explain events. Events are basically stuff that happens that throws you a curveball just to keep you on your toes. So now we've had bad maintenance because they detected that the trucks can't use this kind of street. You can't do anything about it. There's no way to remove an event. You just need to deal with it. So for this event, which is horrible because it's our only source of income, the road speed is down to half. So you can see that trucks are moving at a snail's pace, making these caterpillars, and they cost more. So all the dispatches are basically screwed. So what can you do? Either shut down all the dispatches, waiting for them to arrive. Of course, now they'll speed up over normal ones, but on these they're terribly slow. You can see them slowing down a lot because you completely messed up these roads. Or you can just take the pill and just power through it. So now that we have these trucks being delivered to the farmer's market, we can see that wheat, we have 6 stored. Now, let's talk a bit about the dynamic economy. Every time you have something, you send something, if it's over what they need, so say for example, they need 6, and you have 6 stored, that is excellent. You are covering perfectly the demand. Nothing bad will happen. If you have more stored, the economy will see that you are overproducing and oversupplying, so the price will go down. Need to be careful. If something is beneath what they want, they see that demand is not covered, so the price will go up. Like you'll see now, this one is 152%. If we keep on advancing time, these percentages will change. Like this one, for example, wheat was covered, it went down, you got the arrow, and hops went up. Simple as that. So you want to be very careful at how many you supply, because you don't want to swamp the market. Easiest way, not the best, but definitely the easiest, is when you create the destination, you say, okay, instead of infinite, I want to cover the demand -1. So I am losing money because I'm not losing money. I'm not earning as much as possible because I'm not selling all of it, but I'm allowing for the product price to grow. So you need to find a balance depending on what you want. So for me, for this tutorial's purposes, I couldn't care any less, so let's just destroy the price and sell all the wheat. Because we need the income, we need the cash for staying afloat. So now we sold something, and we can see it here. So product sold, we made 80 grand, but our expenses are super high because of R&D. So we could either slow down R&D, not recommended because we really want to do the dough, or we can up production. Up in production is selling it to more towns, diversify, making a different product. So we have this guy nearby. Okay. A grocery store is a little bit too difficult. He really wants the dough. So farmer's market, what do you want? Beef. Excellent. Let's see. Beef and milk, that is perfect because both are made in the same place, and livestock uses cow farms. So we go to the tech tree. We say, oh, okay, livestock, cows. We use the last one so we don't have to spend any time or money discovering it. And we place the livestock farm. We put it in the radius of this guy. Let's see if I can touch it. I think it'll be in range. Okay, and we make our fields. And I'm too close. What if it? What if it? Nice. Of course, connect everything by road. Please tell me you can see it. Yes, excellent. So, the way it works. This guy uses wheat and water to make cows. It produces meat, milk, and leather. 3 products at once. Livestock Farms is the only building in the game that accepts products and makes several products at once. So, okay, but we're sending all the wheat away. So let's just either cancel it or just pause it. So for now, going to pause it. So all the wheat and all the water will be collected, because remember that we had excess water here. We still have the maintenance that will slow down everything a lot. Look at this caterpillar event. This is going to be so much fun, because soon enough we are going to add traffic, and trucks will not clip through each other. So it's very possible that with an event like this and all these farms in just one intersection connecting everything, all this will be in gridlock. So you might want to have one-way streets, different intersections, custom-made roundabouts, that kind of stuff. So we have all of this. So now I should have enough and is producing. Now, let's get rid of this because we don't want it. Let's sell from the livestock, the beef, the milk, and the leather. Let's see who's the closest guy that buys it. Okay, this guy's super close. Amazing, super close as well. This guy, amazing, also buys it. Okay, so best case scenario happened. Everything that the cow livestock farm makes can be sold next door. So now we just need to wait for everything to be done. It will spend a lot of money dispatching all the stuff that we made and collecting more water. Be very careful with the dispatch cost, because take a look. Vehicle upkeep, all these are just for that. So more dispatch costs. But the best part is we are now filling this. So now we have one meat stored and one milk stored. It's about to end, so slow it down, and we should see the best part, that is the money pop up. Oh, I didn't get in time. Okay, so let's just speed it up to 15, or maybe we sold it and we missed it. There it is. Cash awarded. We made a good amount of cash just with this simple farm. Everything, we are making twice as much money here, and it's way less costs than going there. But again, it's terribly inefficient because we are stockpiling a lot of stuff. The event is now gone, so everything should be smoother. So we have a lot of water, a lot of wheat. We could just make another livestock farm. Always select the warehouse so you can see the range. So let's just make another livestock farm here, even though it's a bit awkward to reach. I know all of you guys that love grids like myself are screaming right now, but it needs to be done. So we got a new one. Excellent. So speed up. It will go down everything. Excellent. So now we doubled the production because we could afford it. We had a lot of wheat, we had a lot of water, and we doubled the production. That is definitely easier to do. And now we're in the green. Simple as that. I mean, we are playing on easy. Another event. Oh my god. Slow down again. Okay. Yeah, stuff happens. So now, in the last month, just in the last month, and this one didn't start producing yet, we made 250,000, which is way above of what we need, which is amazing. So now we can just let it go and just wait until the dough is done. Another thing we could do if we go back to the tech tree is speed things up. So this is a bit advanced. So in the fields in the efficiency, we could either research how to spend more money to research faster. It's very recommended to do this at the beginning. Or we can speed up or slow down the farms, the factories, and so on. Because let's say here we have way too much water, not enough wheat, a lot of wheat as well. And these are, I don't want to place another farm. I just want to make more. I want to speed them up. They are 100%, which is perfect. But I want more. Okay, excellent. So let's do one tiny thing. Let me remove this. Don't worry, because progress is saved. Okay, you know how much is there. So we could either spend more for the farms so they can go faster, or we can research faster. This takes 2 months and it allows us to spend more money. Because the end goal is to make dough and don't want to spend too much money improving the farms themselves. So let's just spend a bit of time and money into speeding up research. Wait a little bit until everything is done. It's so painful. Another event. Okay, yeah, political event. Upkeep has gone up by 10% for a few months. Even though the game is set to easy, that doesn't mean that all the events will help you. You're just going to... The events, let me explain this a little bit. First of all, let me put back in the queue. Where was it? The dough. There, so it's in the queue. So as soon as this one is completed, we can do it. I just saw the contract. Okay. Events. So, events, there's no such thing as good, bad event in terms of difficulty. All events are played all the time. The difficulty of the event changes the impact. So say, for example, the pay rise, upkeep 10%. Okay, but the game is on easy, and that is why it's just a 10%. If you were playing on hard, the upkeep would be, for example, 50%. So that would be a lot more crippling. So just playing on easy doesn't mean that you get free cash or free stuff all the time. It's just the hard events are softer. Now, let's discuss the contracts. Contracts are basically like quests that a town makes, and they want something, a product, a quantity, and an end date and where to have it. And there's no way to influence this. You either accept it or reject it. Now, if you accept it, they pay you a huge amount of cash. On higher difficulties, they're almost mandatory because you need all the money you can get. Now, leather, we're already making it, which is amazing. We got a contract for something that we're already making. Cool. So it's in Buckfast. That is, was it this one? No, it was the other one. Excellent. So we got here the pop-up. They want leather. Okay, they're paying 282%. Let me increase the UI size. It's done by the plus and minus in the numpad. 282%, which is absolutely amazing because normally leather is paid at 122%. So it's going to give us almost $500,000 for some cow parts. Amazing. But we got a deadline, which is December. We got all the year to make 7 leather. It's definitely possible because we got 2 farms and each one, so we're basically producing 6 leather every 45 days and we got all year, so I don't see why not. The problem is, if you accept something and then break your promise, you get fined. You get fined for half of what the contract would be worth. I saw a lot of people either on Twitch or YouTube or whatever with game over just because they failed. So be very careful because of course it grows over time. Imagine if leather, they give you $500,000, imagine a car. Like cars go for a lot of money and if they find you, it's instant game over. So you need to be very, very careful with that. You've been playing for 20 hours and boop, one wrong decision and that's it. But that's life. So let's accept it. It's accepted. You cannot unaccept or reject the contract. You just need to let it expire. So we got this. We do not want to keep selling it. So change the destination, contracts, wholesaler. So now all the leather will not be stored, will not be sent to the town. It will instead be sent to this other one, to the wholesaler. And that's it. So now, let's hope we can do it in time and we don't get any more of these because traffic is getting very bad here. And we completed R&D. We got notified. Research completed, cool. So now we can do, boop. So now, instead of taking 3 months, yeah, I suck at math, half a year, we can invest a lot more and it will take just over 2 months, which is excellent. Of course, it costs more, so need to be very careful. And because we are not sending the leather to be sold immediately, that is a delayed payment. So also need to take that into account. Last month we were barely in the green and last month we weren't. So be careful. If you were to go very close to bankruptcy, so negative account, negative cash flow, if you finish the month on negative cash flow, you get a bankrupt alert and you're forced to take a loan at 25% interest. You do not want to take it. The best way to avoid that is to take a loan. So you can talk with the other towns and say, okay, I give you a loan. Here's 10 million at 19%. Okay, it's not amazing, but it'll do. 19% is better than 25. Keep in mind that unlike most games, the cash you start with, you need to give it back because, of course, nobody just wakes up one day, hey, I'm going to be an industrialist. Oh, look, in my pocket, I have like $25 million. Yeah, let me just invest it. No. Everybody takes investment or whatever, or loans, and that cash, you need to pay it back. And that is why from the 3rd year, you're going to start paying the loan. So you have 3 years grace just to set up all your business, but then you're going to pay $125 a month for 10 years. If you have a ridiculous amount of cash, you can pay it off so you can avoid the interest. So that's one way to go. Now, dough is almost done. We're on max speed, but because everything is moving so slowly, on normal speed, it goes like this. I think it would be even easier to just grab the box of stuff and just walk there. So, yeah, max speed, dough. Wait a little bit. 5, 6, and contract completed. So, we completed this and we got $500,000. So this month is going to be very lucrative. But because the destination changed, we need to put it back. So commercial hardware store, and that's it. Decided on purpose not to switch back to the previous one in case you want to stockpile it for whatever reason because you feel that another contract is coming up. So the whole revert destination kind of thing, I know you guys recommended it, but it will cause weird situations. It was tested. Okay, we got dough. Excellent. It's always ideal to look ahead and plan for something. So dough, we know it makes waffles and berry pies. We need to choose. Waffles needs sugar, which is another type of farm. And berry pie needs also sugar and berries. So I think waffles would be the best thing to do. So I'm going to put it, but I don't care much about it. Gonna put it at very low. It automatically queued up the sugar that is in drinks. So just going to take it easy, leave it there in the background. For now, I just care about the dough. And this is where the fun part begins. So dough is done in the food factory. So I know I'm going to make a lot. So I'm going to place 2 of them. Let's see, can I fit one here? I doubt it. No. Okay. So going to place one here, and there's this hill in the way. Going to flatten it a little bit. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it's very expensive, but it needs to be done. So clone tool, place, and that's it. Now I need wheat. Okay, good stuff. It's going to grab it directly. Hopefully it has enough to serve its purpose. Okay, just wheat to make flour. And the other one will make the dough. Okay, so we need a lot of flour and some water. And here we do need to start doing some math because we need a lot more flour. So let's leave this flour and place another one if I can. Yeah, because you don't want to build it here. If you build something too close to a town, they'll get annoyed. And if they're on negative annoyance, you cannot build in that region. You do not want to do that. So just on the edge, so they can grow their houses and so on, and they don't get annoyed. So we got this, make the dough. It should be in warehouse range. So now, ideally, everything will dispatch and collect all the good stuff. But we are now out of orders, so we cannot sell 3 products plus the dough to a town. So what we can do is go into logistics and choose another destination slot. Sorry, distribution, and choose another destination slot. So cancel, cancel, and we want this now. So maximum cash, we need this right away. Actually, you know what? Not this one, but this one, because I also want the warehouses to have their range extended a bit more, so you can expand using the same warehouse. So it's going to take time anyways to make the dough. It doesn't matter. Smoke indicates that it's under production, which is excellent. Can you please finish? I want to. Excellent, thank you. Now everything back to normal. They're happily making all the flour, dispatch it to the warehouse. The other food factory saw it, collect it. Again, this is far from an efficient setup. I'm just doing it for demonstration purposes. And with traffic, this is not going to be possible. Like, you're going to have this stretch of road completely collapsed all the time. So be very careful. And that's it. Yep, dough is being made. We got the research, so now we can choose another destination, which is tier 1. We got the no, it was tier 2. Dough alphabetical order. I can't even think this morning. Commercial next door. Okay, reminder, we are getting for milk and meat 28,000 each, which is very decent. I mean, we got a hardware store also for the leather, 23, not bad. Are we staying afloat? Kinda, yeah, making a good amount of money. Now, because we place the food factories, they are a considerable amount of upkeep. But now with the grocery store, the dough is sold at double price, and it might keep on going up. So the income will be excellent. Do they buy anything more advanced? No, not yet. So now we need to think about making the town grow. Every time a town uses something, buys something, it will grow, okay? So at certain intervals, like every 100,000 population, it will place a new shop. It will keep on growing. That is going to change soon, but I'll explain it a little bit later. So all you need to care about is send a bunch of stuff to the town, and you're going to see the population grow. Simple as that. So now we see the month is going to speed it up a little bit. Every 15 days, shops consume, a new house was placed, and so on. Another contract. Perfect. Are we actually selling the dough? We got it there, 2 stores. Ah, yes. Sweet cash. Of course, as said, this is not the best setup. It's all over the place. It's not compact and so on. Towns also place their own stuff to fulfill their own needs. Don't worry about that. It's good for you because they are going to buy their own products and sell with other towns. Like all these trucks, they're from other towns. Like, I'm not making wood. So The other towns are going to help each other in doing in keeping the economy afloat and giving each other some cash to keep going. So now, what do you want to do? Diversify, keep going, go down the tech tree a little bit more. Choose other stuff. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, we said we want to do the berry pie. So we'll queue all the stuff and you keep on going. End game, you need to make a prototype. You got them here. There's one for every industry. You got here the rural, the light, and heavy. So depending on what you want to focus on, say you're doing a lot of food, the pre-made dinner prototype is what you want to do. It needs the berry pie, the container, and a chicken dinner. No, it's not for another game. I'm not talking about another game. There's chicken dinners exist outside that game. So you need to make fried chicken that needs chicken, flour, and olive oil, and a lot of veggies, and cook them. So it will take you a good amount of time. So do not think that you are going to finish the game in your first 3 hours playing. So it'll go over time. On the next playthrough, you can try a different prototype. You can make the very first computer or a car. And that's pretty much it. So now, let's say, oh, this was way longer than expected, 46 minutes. Okay. Going to split it now, and now we go into the new stuff. Okay, second section. Let's discuss the new stuff. Let's see. Now, in the versions you guys know, let me make it easy. What you guys have seen until now is the trade route system. Let's discuss the new alternative. The trade route system is, because it's still live, and always was, kind of like in other games, like Anno. Many of the Anno games have this, and many others. So you basically, what you do is a push system. So you want to grab something and deliver it somewhere, do something with that, and then something else. So say, for example, I want to pick up the dough here, transport it here, do something else, make the pie, for example, and then do it here. If you do it by truck, it's going to be terribly expensive. So you want to set up either a boat route, for example, following the coast, and then another truck, or by train, or zeppelins, or whatever. To do that, you need to say, okay, you station, pick up this stuff here, deliver it there, drop it off, pick up this other stuff, and drop it off. It's a lot of clicks. So, but it's what people have been doing since the 90s. I wanted to give a familiar thing, but realized that the system either broke down or it was too many clicks or tedious. So instead of fixing something that is unfixable because it technically works, but it's just tedious, decided to completely annihilate months of work, start again, invest more months in the new system. The new system is, depending who you ask, is either called the request system or the network. What it does is it connects all the warehouses in the game, so it's way simpler to do everything. So say we have this warehouse, we got a bunch of stuff. Let's say we want to have the dough delivered here. So first, of course, we need the region permit. Let's buy the full one just to make it easy on us. We place the warehouse. Then we unlock, for example, the truck depot, cancel all the stuff that we don't need or want anymore. Speed it up. We can, of course, do this with the okay, it left. Okay. Yes, with the logistic depot, we don't need the full one because these are all logistic buildings. So we got the truck depot done. Excellent. Pause. Logistic. We got truck depot. The warehouses of course, they do what I said before and what everybody knows, that they connect the buildings. But to talk with each other via the network and being able to make a request, they need to be connected to a transportation method, a depot. So either a truck depot, train terminal, boat, zaps, whatever. For simplicity's sake, let's just make a truck depot just here for the origin, for one warehouse, and the other warehouse, if I can. Oh, excellent. Of course, logistic buildings, you can place them anywhere, unlike the production buildings. So they are connected. They can now talk to each other. Okay, I want the dough. Before, you went to the menu, pick up stuff here, choose destination, drop off stuff there, choose product, blah, 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 click play. Okay, now we have the setup made. We just click on the warehouse and we make the request instead of going in the panel. I want, what do we want? Dough, excellent, if I can find it. Dough, okay. Oh, it already connected. There's some available, cool. Do we have it? Yeah, we do. Okay, so it already spoke with the other warehouse and it saw there's one available. Okay, give me all of it, infinite. So what it will do now, you don't need this panel. This panel is mostly for reviewing the priorities if you have different products, the same product delivered to different places. So you can definitely just do it like this. So I want all the dough delivered there. Amazing. So the warehouse, what it will do is it will deliver with normal trucks to the truck depot, then it will transfer to high capacity trucks and deliver it all the way there. This means that high capacity trucks carry a lot more and are cheaper, so it's way better. Say for example, a good way to use this, for example, is to get a logistic permit on every town and put a warehouse and a truck depot in each one of them. This way, all the towns are connected. When you have a contract, you don't have to use the normal trucks. You just make the request there. Very, very simple. So now we just need to wait for the dough to arrive, which is already there. It was collected and dispatched. So we got this guy that is carrying 2 dough because it's a higher capacity truck. Of course, you can just go here and increase the capacity even more or make them faster. So we got it, the little guy zooming here, like that. Did we lose him? No, here. We got him, boop, 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 boop. And there it is, and it's already arrived here. So it takes even less clicks to use the network than to use the destination system. It's very, very handy. So we got in storage here, and we just make the dough that I always have issues finding, commercial, and send it to where it is. Now, this is pretty stupid because we had a good thing going before. So let's just cancel this and send it back. Now, the good thing about requests is that you can have infinite requests. So they'll just keep appearing and appearing. It's very, very handy. Stuff for the request system. You can choose how many, infinite, or X amount. It will update here, of course. It will tell you how many are available, how many are traveling, and so on. Here, of course, you can disable it, and this is very tricky. If this is enabled, like this, if there's one unit, it will dispatch the truck or the train or whatever immediately. If this is disabled, it means wait until it's full. This is very handy, for example, for trains and zeppelins that are a bit expensive, and you don't want the whole train carry 1 unit of water. It just doesn't make any sense. So you want that enabled. But maybe you want to disable for very expensive stuff that needs to be delivered right away because it's very expensive and it takes a long time. So more power to you, just choose whatever you want to do. You can choose also what kind of routes it will, what kind of transportation it will choose. So say you have everything is connected with everything with all 4. the game will always choose the cheapest, not the quickest. The cheapest usually tend to be trucks, but maybe you want it right away, you don't care about the cost, just use the Zeppelins. Okay, disable everything and allow only the Zeppelins to be in range. And that's it. It's very, very, very simple. Now, scenarios. Let's talk scenarios. Back in our menu, we have these scenarios. Kind of obvious to see. So, what are they? Scenarios are kind of like small maps where there's objectives. So, say for example, we already made a few of them. Waterworld and Farmland. Farmland is basically very flat map. We made a very flat map. You can only use farms. You cannot use any oil or gas or whatever. Just farms. And you got 10 years to make 10 million bucks. Simple as that. And there's some modifiers and so on. Waterworld instead is a completely messed up map with constant floods, and it's just completely messed up. And the good thing about this is that, of course, you can make your own. There's a bunch of modifiers. Like here, you choose all the objectives going on, what you want to produce, what is enabled, what is disabled, all the mods. Like you have full control of what you want to do. So say you want to do, for example, I don't know, like pollution nightmare. Sorry about the clicking, I got a loud thing. Okay, you want to make, for example, 10 millions in 20 years. Okay, good. You're not allowed to use boats, gatherers. Let's say you cannot use water, you cannot make water, and you can't use farms. That's it, for example. You can only use polluting garbage. Bankruptcy is enabled. Let's make the towns are from Germany, for example, a small map, because why not? But we make it very hard. We start it up. Then we can choose, we can modify the map in the way that we want. At the beginning, until we click on export or regenerate in case we don't want the map, you can choose everything. You can put as many rivers as you want. So say for example, this is too easy, it's too flat. Okay, let me just make a few mountains, a few lakes, like extend them a little bit, make them a little bit more organic, bit annoying, like here, this, like this, plant some trees, and there. So now it's a bit more difficult to do it. And that's it. Export and save. And now, of course, it needs to restart the game because all mods need to restart. We can go, if this finishes, come on, there we go. Scenarios, load, and we got here pollution nightmare. Make 10 million bucks like this, and we got all the modifiers here. And then you can play it, or you can package it into a mod, throw it on Steam Workshop, or send it by email or Dropbox or whatever you want. It's very simple. You just need to put it in the mods folder manually, or just subscribe on the workshop and download. I'm getting without voice. Now, of course, there's a bunch of documentation about how to create the mod itself, how to upload on Workshop, and so on. Same goes with the mods. Of course, we got full mod support. We got here all the ones that we downloaded. The asset viewer is very handy in case you want to know how to modify something. Say, for example, you want to change, I don't know, the water siphon. Okay, you type siphon. We got it here. In water gather. Okay. And you got it here. So you know exactly what it's called. You can modify all the values via modding. You know exactly where to touch. and it's very, very handy. Here, you got all the information. So when you're making a mod, you know what class to call it. It's a bit advanced, but this will help you a lot. Then, the wiki. Very, very important, because up until now, there was what we call, I keep sliding down with this chair, we had the help panel. The help panel is like 7,000 words in 8 different languages. It was just a pain to keep it updated. It was always outdated. It was very expensive to maintain in hours and in cache to keep it localized. So what we did is we ported everything to the wiki that now have OBS configured so it doesn't see the rest. So trust me, just click on it and you can see everything is there. There's also community guides that is very, very handy, and people can translate on the fly. You just see it in Chrome, you click on translate and everything is modified. Is way handier. Yes, it needs to be outside the game, so if you have a dual monitor setup, it's very handy. If not, you just need to alt tab and so on. I understand that it's possibly better to have it in game, but I'd rather use those resources of maintaining it and just making a better game on its own. Still, very recommended to view it. You got there all the controls of the game, some guides, all the modding stuff is very handy, very recommended. Okay, now to wrap things up, let's discuss what is coming. So, very soon in patch 8.1, going to have the town growth opportunities. To make it short, towns now, they just keep on expanding endlessly. Every X amount of population they put up a new shop and so on. The idea is that when they reach a limit around 200,000 population, they stop growing and give you a quest. Like, we need 20 wood and 20 flour and $10 million to grow. If we grow, we level up and we can place these shops. So it's very customizable, because you might have several of these at the same time, because remember that towns help each other. And so even though you're not actively making a town grow, it will grow on its own. So you might have more than one at the time, and you might help several towns at the same time. And that is very handy, because in the example that I made before, I was going food-wise. So I want to help a rural town to grow, and I see, oh, it's going to make a diner. Excellent. Diners, I know they're going to buy the pies I'm going to make. Cool. But if I'm helping a heavy industry, it will ask for example, carpentry-related stuff or bookstores, stuff that I don't care about. So I don't want to invest a lot of time and money into doing that kind of stuff. So I might not help it. The problem is that if you don't help it, it will not grow on its own. It will stagnate on that position, and it will stay there forever. So it's completely up to you. Maybe one day you want to help it grow and you just accept the opportunity. There's no penalties for failing. You cannot fail. It will just stay there forever until you fulfill it. It's quite expensive, so just be careful. Yeah, that is coming in a week or two, so don't worry about it. It's right around the corner. Then, pollution Alpha 9. Hopefully, at least testable before Christmas. Hopefully. Basically, every building in the game generates pollution. So, pollution, what does it do? Of course, it pollutes water. It will annoy towns, farms. If they're near polluted terrain, they will produce less or not produce at all. So you need to keep it in check. You can't just put 50 petrochemical plants making oil products all day, clamp up together, because it will destroy everything around it. So mechanics are relatively simple. Buildings expand, have an increasing radius of pollution. It follows the wind. You can see it with the direction of the smoke. It's already in game, so you just can know where the wind blows by looking at the smokestacks. It will follow that direction. Wind changes direction, but the ground heals itself. The problem is that very polluting buildings will overpollute. So how can you clean it? Either put a lot of trees that they clean a little bit, but if pollution is too high, the trees will die and not clean up. So that is where the buildings come in. You got either the air purifier that is low tech, uses water to clean up the air, or the chemical scrubber that uses chemicals. That is a bit counterintuitive because chemicals are done in the petrochemical plant, so you use polluting stuff to remove pollution, but it's the kind of stuff that you need for basically crippling situations. And then the water, you got the water purifier just to clean up the rivers. And that's pretty much it. It will annoy towns, it will kill farms, it will lower the pollution, and if it kills towns, you're going to lose money, because if there's nobody left to buy your products, then that's it. Traffic, I know a lot of you guys want it because you've played other games that I cannot mention. I know them because I played them myself. It's relatively simple. So right now, trucks go through each other. When we push the patch, they will not. Simple as that. They will create gridlocks. But in other games, they cheat by teleporting the trucks in deadlock situations. Gridlocks are fine, deadlocks are not okay. Here, they will deadlock. So you will see complete death and destruction. And the problem is that traffic also creates pollution. So you need to be careful about that. How to solve it? Either be very efficient with the placement of the roads, or place bridges or tunnels or land bridges, as in overpasses. And we are also introducing the one-way roads. So it's very simple. It's a one-way. It's kind of like, I need to mention it, city skylines highways. They are called highways for whatever reason, but they're technically one-way roads that you can place them at any height, and that's it. So you just can make technically a highway if you put one tile of one-way roads in that direction and next to it in the opposite direction. Voila, you have a highway. So you need to play it very, very smart. I'm very interested in seeing all the tiers that are going to appear on Discord and the forums and so on, because you completely destroy the map with traffic. And then we are going to do last, because we need to push it last, because first we need to have a perfectly functioning game, and it's the AI competitor. Now the AI is very silent, it's very reactive to what you do, it does its thing, but what it's going to do is be another player. It has its own money, its own tech tree, its own buildings, its own agenda. It will either go with or against you. It's very handy because it will do its own production lines. Maybe you want to pair up with them. Maybe it's doing, you're doing the car prototype, for example, and you don't want to make the engine. You want to make the chassis, for example. You see that another AI is making the engine, you can buy it off them, make a contract, say, yes, I want X engines per month, I give you X amount of money. Very handy. It saves you a lot of upkeep and tech, so you can do it. But they can also do negative stuff against you. That is where PR comes in. So towns will stop buying stuff from everybody and will have exclusivity contracts. So say, for example, PR, you say, I'm the best, buy all the stuff from me, that guy sucks, don't buy anything. You do a negative PR campaign against them, or you do a positive one in favor of you. The problem is that the AI can do the same against you, because it might see, maybe on a hard setting, it might see that you are too rich, you get too much cash because of your beer empire. But you're sending it to one town, so we'll see that. We'll do a negative campaign and we'll force the town to stop buying stuff from you. So then you end up in this PR war where you invest more money to counter that one. It's kind of like election day. You just stomp the others to the ground to get away with your stuff. Or you can just be friends with everybody, which will not be possible. If you have several AIs, some will be more aggressive than others. So need to be careful with that. As soon as that is ready, release. Aiming for Q1, so late Q1, February, March, April, that kind of stuff. And then all the post-release stuff. We have like a year or two of post-release content planned, stuff like massive production facilities, buildings that snap to each other, and you can have whole production lines into one mega building, waste management, a super intense map editor where you import height maps and you can modify everything, that kind of stuff. It's all in the roadmap link down below. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So this was supposed to last half an hour. We are well over 1 hour, but hopefully it was enlightening, entertaining at data, because I ramble a lot in parentheses and I'm not very good at doing this kind of stuff, but I think that I like connecting with you guys. I'm very thankful that you are playing the game, you're enjoying it, has good scores, the reviews are absolutely amazing. I love you guys to bits. So please guys, just, I'm always on Discord, always on the forums, you guys know that. Just drop by, say hi, tell me all your crazy ideas. I want to see your setups, I want to see how can I make the game more challenging, more interesting. Just speak up, I'm always there. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up, and I'll see you guys everywhere. So